Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. In this one we are going to have a look at my team selection for game week 10. We'll have a look at how game week 9 went. As you can see on the screen, it didn't go great, and I am almost certain that I'm going to play my wildcard this week, so we'll talk through that as well. But before we get started, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and also I have started to write a free newsletter each week whereby I will pretty much give you everything you need for the following game week, and it will be delivered to your inbox every week. So if you want that, it's obviously free. All you need to do is go to bradmayerfpl.com. That's also in the description. Put in your email address and then you will get a email either Thursday or Friday each week. Well, when the game week deadline is the weekend anyway, but each week before the deadline, you'll get an email from me with everything you need to know about that game week. So make sure you go to that website, put your email address in. And anyway, let's get on to game week 9. So as you can see, my team on screen wasn't the best. One thing to note, right, so we'll go from back to front. Dean Henderson, well, we'll go over the score first. So 58 points, not great. 2.2 million overall rank. I've basically gone from 2.1 million to 2.2 million in the last 2 weeks. I've gone nowhere. Game week rank of 4.4 million. But Dean Henderson, so this is why I always say in these videos that firstly, I don't like spending money on the goalkeeper position, and two, I don't like rotating goalkeepers. So Dean Henderson is a prime example of this. If I had rotating 4.5 million goalkeepers, which a lot of people do, they have Flecken and Henderson, Verbruggen and Flecken, or whoever it is, I would have benched Henderson this week because Spurs is a bad fixture, right? So, and also the other point is that Henderson, the only other clean sheet Henderson has kept this season is against Man United. Man United and Spurs are two teams that I would have benched Henderson against. So rotating goalkeepers just doesn't really work. Clean sheets are can be such random events, and they're so hard to predict that I don't really see the point in firstly spending money on that position. We've seen, for example, Raya for Arsenal, Leicester, Southampton at home, both two unbelievable fixtures, conceded in both. It can just be random events that lose a clean sheet. So as we know, I don't like spending money on the goalkeeper position. So as you'll see in my wildcard team, it's going to be a 4 million and a 4.5 million. It'll be Fabianski probably and a 4.5 million option. So yeah, happy with obviously Henderson's 8 points this week though. Konza is disappointing. Villa were on for a clean sheet right up until the last 5-10 minutes when they conceded. Slightly annoying, but not expecting loads from him anyway. Porro, again, a disappointing one. Spurs all round were disappointing in that game, only 2 points. And then Rico Lewis obviously started again, got the clean sheet, so got 6 points. Didn't quite get the 3 bonus points that Gvardiol did, but it is what it is. He's much cheaper, so great value still. Then Mbomo, obviously with a brace, one of which was a penalty, 15 points. Any other week, if Haaland wasn't playing Southampton, then Mbomo would have been a genuine captaincy option. So it's just unfortunate that those fixtures were in the same week. Fernandez, 2 points. If Dalot didn't miss that open goal, we'd have had an assist. I know it's all ifs and buts, of course it is, but Fernandez also had a chance himself, a headed chance that he missed. He's been disappointing, but new manager, we could see a new manager bounce, or at least something resembling something better than what was happening under Ten Hag. So yeah, on wildcard I probably will still have him though, so you'll see in my team when I show it, I probably will go with Bruno Fernandes to start with. Rodgers, 1 point. He's been brilliant up until now. For his price, he's delivered more than what we needed from him, so can't be too annoyed with that. And then Eze, 6 points. Eze's a really disappointing one. Not the fact that he got 6 points, that's great, but he had another good week of good underlying numbers. And what is more annoying is that obviously he got injured in the EFL Cup game. So we probably will need more information on it, but we'll talk through that in the next section. Haaland captain 6 points, could have been better. I think he got over 2 XG to be fair, so like he did miss some big chances as well. There was one on the back post, and he also had a headed chance that was quite easy that he missed. But I'm just glad I didn't use my triple captaincy on him. Then we have Solanke, who was really disappointing. He kind of has been really disappointing. We'll talk through him in the next section as well. And then, so I ended up having to use a transfer, which is really annoying. And I'll explain why it's really annoying. So my plan was to always roll last week, meaning that I had 2 transfers this week, and I could do the Haaland and Rodgers to Salah and a forward. Now, that got even better, that move, when we saw that Jota's out. So it could have been Haaland to Darwin and Rodgers to Salah. That would have set me up for a nice couple week stint before Wildcard 12. But Son looked like he wasn't going to play. Obviously, you can see on the bench there it says 9 points. It was obviously 0 points. Ignore that. But Son didn't play, and we kind of knew he wasn't going to play. So I didn't have to, but I did make a move, which was João Pedro to Calvert-Lewin. Now, obviously, Calvert-Lewin got 2 points. It was a terrible, terrible transfer in hindsight, and probably even not in hindsight. So, yeah. And then, obviously, that meant that I've only got 1 free transfer this week, so couldn't do the Haaland to Salah move without a hit. The kind of domino effect of that transfer was just absolutely awful. But anyway, let's look at my Gameweek 10 team now, and I'll explain why I'm probably using my wildcard this week. Okay, and this is how my team is set up currently for this week, and we won't spend too much time on this really because it's kind of pointless. I've explained why I've only got 1 free transfer. I've got 0.2 million in the bank, and the issues I have. So Dunk is, we think, injured. Pretty sure he is injured, and his next 2 fixtures are awful anyway. It's Liverpool and City, I believe. So not good there. Then we have Gabriel, who is also potentially injured. So again, that takes me down to 3 defenders. So it's Konza, Porro, Lewis. Playing Konza this week isn't great. Obviously, Spurs one of the better attacking teams this season, and I'll be playing Konza and Porro in the same game, and I'd also have Son and Solanke in that game. But anyway, they're the 2 kind of only really nailed ones to start. And then Lewis has been playing 90 minutes after 90 minutes. He played 90 minutes in the EFL Cup game. So, but City do have loads of injuries. So I'm not, and obviously we saw the quote from Pep, which basically said he can't rest Lewis because he's got no one else. So he probably will play. So I probably would be able to get 3 defenders out, but it's not great regardless. Then Mbomo is fine. Bruno Fernandes is fine. Son is potentially fine. He should be fine, we think, is what Anne just said. It's very likely that he will be back at the weekend, but again, might not. Eze went off injured in the EFL Cup last night, hoping it wasn't even a tackle or a challenge. It wasn't. I don't even think he was sprinting. He was just wandering around and then put his hand up and said no. And I think it was a left hamstring, so that doesn't seem good. Then Calvert-Lewin, Southampton away is actually fine. Southampton away is obviously a great fixture, so can't argue with that. Haaland is, again, obviously fine. Not the greatest fixture with Bournemouth away, but it's not bad at all. It's definitely not as good as Salah, though. And then Solanke with Aston Villa at home, but Solanke played 90 minutes in the EFL Cup as well, and he looked absolutely spent after the game. He looked done. So it might be quite unlikely, but I wouldn't be that surprised to see Solanke benched at the weekend and Richarlison start instead. So basically, I've got a load of problems with my team. My plan was to wildcard in Gameweek 12 anyway. So, and I kind of had a look, and the team that I'd be wildcarding to in Gameweek 12, it doesn't look too much different to what I'd be going for now anyway. So with all these issues in my team, it seemed like probably a good idea to wildcard this week. Now, I haven't pressed the button yet. I'm not 100% I'm going to do it. I'm probably 80% sure I'm going to do it. I will kind of wait until we hear a little bit more from managers, but I'll show you what my current draft is for wildcard this week.
Okay, so this is the current draft I have looked at for Wildcard this week. Obviously, the screenshot is from FPL Team. If you haven't used that site, then it's a great planner. So make sure you do have a look at it. So starting from the goalkeepers, obviously I've got Fabianski. He played at the weekend ahead of Areola. Even if he didn't, to be honest, I'd still have Fabianski in the team. I just maybe wouldn't have him in the 11. I also have Verbruggen as my other goalkeeper. That 4.5 million goalkeeper slot isn't really set. That could be anyone, to be honest. I don't even hate sticking with Henderson. I don't hate Flecken, although he's not kept a clean sheet. Any of the 4.5 million options are okay. I don't really want to go up. I don't even want to spend an extra 0.1 on Sells, really, or 0.2 on Sanchez, to be honest, even though they both are probably better. But if Fabianski starts the next 2 weeks, it's Nottingham Forest away and Everton at home or away, I'm not sure. I think it's Everton though. So I could start Fabianski in game week 10, game week 11 when Verbruggen has Liverpool and City. And then Brighton go on a brilliant run from game week 12, so I could play Verbruggen from then onwards. I know earlier in the video I mentioned how I don't like rotating goalkeepers, and it could and probably will come back to bite me that I'd bench Verbruggen, but if Fabianski's starting, I can't not play him when Verbruggen has City and Liverpool. And to be honest, even if Fabianski's benched, I'm fine with Verbruggen coming in. So I do quite like. I also like that he's quite low owned compared to other goalkeepers. Like Flecken is over 10%. I'm not sure what the other goalkeepers are, but Verbruggen is pretty low owned, I'm sure. So I also kind of like that as a play. Then in defence, so a couple of players that I definitely have. So Dalot, third on the bench, you can see there. Man United have a fantastic run of fixtures from game week 11 onwards. They play, I think it's Leicester, Ipswich, Everton 3 weeks in a row. So that's the reason I've got triple Man United in this draft. But yeah, Dalot, I definitely have him in the team. Also, with the new manager coming in, if he plays 5 at the back, it is quite likely that Dalot will be playing as a right wing back. So there is obviously a chance that he plays right centre back, but I think they'd be better to utilise him at right wing back. And apart from the missed open goal at the weekend, that would be great for obviously FPL. Ait-Nouri would definitely be in my team. Wolves' fixtures are just too good to ignore, and he plays ridiculously attacking. We spoke about him a lot on this channel, so yeah, he'd be in the team. Rico Lewis would also definitely be in the team. With the injuries to Man City players, he just seems like he's going to get great minutes, so he would definitely be in the team. Then I also have Anderson, I have Trent. Now, Anderson's only in there really because he's 4.3 million. I could go down to a 4 million option, but the Fulham defence is actually quite good, XG-wise or XGC-wise, so I don't mind having him as kind of the last bench option. He'd be the 5th defender most weeks. So if I ever needed him, he's very likely to play. So he's quite a safe option. Then Trent, I do really want to have Trent in my team, but I'll speak at the end about why he's definitely not locked in my team. Then I have Mbomo, who is definitely locked. Don't really need to talk about him. Salah, Palmer, both definitely locked. Well, Salah's potentially not locked, but very, very likely I'll go with Salah. I think he's the best captain this week. I think he's probably the best captain in Game Week 12. So I probably will go with him. Palmer from Game Week 12 onwards has a ridiculous fixture run. Again, you can see Jackson in the team there. That's because of this ridiculous fixture run that Chelsea have from Game Week 12. The fixtures before that aren't the best. So Man United away, although we could see goals in that game. And then I believe they play Arsenal. So again, not the greatest of fixtures. But I'll want Palmer from Game Week 12 onwards. Then Raul and Cunha are probably both locked as well, to be honest. They're both cheap. They're both probably on penalties, and they're just great options. Now, I've also got Garnacho on the bench, as you can see there. It's those three, obviously ignoring Anderson and Verbruggen. Those two could change, but doesn't really matter too much who I go for in them slots. The slots that I'm less confident on are Jackson, Garnacho and Trent. So this is where structure comes into it. because what I could do is take Jackson down to Wood and have a complete budget forward 3. That would mean that I could upgrade Garnacho to maybe, well, I'd have to take Trent down as well, but this is where, like I say, structure comes into it. If I want Son or Saka in that Garnacho slot, I have to take Trent down and or Jackson down to someone. The problem with taking Trent down is I don't really like any of the other defenders. I could just go Konate, of course. That would save me nearly 2 million, I think. So that is an option. But I think at the moment, I just prefer the Trent, Jackson, Garnacho route to the kind of Son, Wood and Konate maybe route. So that's where I'm at the moment. Also, with Garnacho as well, it gives me someone that I can bench, because if I go with Son or Saka, I've got a real benching headache with this front or attacking 8. So I don't really like to have loads of decisions every week, benching wise as well. So I think this is something like what I'll go with. It probably won't be the exact team, but it will be very, very similar to this. So if you like the video, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.